I want to give you the 5 easiest things that you can start doing today that can help you to lose weight without any food tracking or meal planning. And the last one might be a little bit controversial. Proteins and fruit and veg are some of the most hunger satiating foods that you can have, meaning for the amount of calories that they have in them, they keep you full for longer. So each meal should start with a source of protein and fruit or veg, and then only if you have room afterwards do you add in other things. Now, does this mean I'm saying that you should go full keto or low carb? Not really, because unless you're really specific with what you're choosing, most proteins and then fruit or veg come packaged with some healthy fats and some carbs. Number 2, now the next big hitter in making sure that we are matching your nutritional needs to your appetite is making sure that we are getting at least a moderate level of activity in. Now there is a classic study where they looked at factory workers who had either low, moderate or high activity positions. And basically the high activity workers were eating more than the moderate activity workers. Makes sense, they were doing more. But the low activity workers, so those that had jobs that weren't very physically demanding, were actually still eating as much as those who had a moderately active job. And what this helped to illustrate is that at levels of low activity, your nutritional needs and your appetite actually become uncoupled. Now the easiest way to track your activity is through your step count, as most of us have either a watch or a phone or something that can track our steps these days. So I suggest that you aim for a minimum of 7,000 steps a day, but the more the merrier. Now, if you find that you are usually below 7,000 steps each day, try and build in some short walks, take the stairs, have walking meetings, those sorts of things. And then if you get to the end of the day and you haven't met your 7,000 steps, then you can quite easily go for a short walk and make up the rest of that for the day. A kilometer walk gives you about 15,000 steps and a mile gives you about 2,000 steps. So even if you are only halfway through your step goal for the day, a 20 to 30 minute walk can often top that off. Number 3, now often thirst can feel a lot like hunger, and even if you aren't specifically underhydrated, getting some fluid in your stomach can help you to feel fuller. Now the easiest way to go about this is if you're feeling hungry, have a glass of water or some sort of other 0-calorie drink, wait 15 to 20 minutes, and then if you're still hungry, then you're probably ready to eat and you weren't just thirsty. And if that's the case, well then at least you've got some fluid in there to start filling up your stomach. And if your pee is anything other than clear or light yellow, then you're probably due for a decent drink anyway. Number 4 is to pay attention when you are eating. Quite often we overeat just because we are distracted. Now this means eating without watching TV, without scrolling, without getting a YouTube video queued. And I know this sounds crazy, but apparently this is how everyone used to do it. Now what you want to be doing is thinking about your food. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? Are you enjoying it? How hungry were you when you started? How hungry are you now at this point in your meal? And what I recommend is eating up till you're about 80% full. It takes a little bit of time from when we swallow food for our body to actually register that more food has been added into the system. And quite often if we just eat till we feel 80% full, we've actually already eaten that last 20% and our body just hasn't had time to register that more content has been put in. So eat till you're 80% full, and then if you're 30 minutes or so later after the meal you're still hungry, then you can always top that up. That's a lot easier than trying to undo something that you've already eaten. Number 5. Now this might not be on some people's favorites lists, but you should start weighing yourself regularly. And this is because the things that get measured are the things that get improved, and change requires our attention. And even if you're doing things that are resulting in weight loss, how are you going to know unless you are having a reliable measure? Now obviously body weight as we measure on the scale is not exactly the same as body fat weight. There are other things that can change that number, as food in your gut, the water weight that you have stored in your tissues, different nutrients stored in your tissues, and these sorts of things can all make that number on the scale bounce around on the day-to-day. Now the best and easiest way to cut through the noise is to weigh yourself daily in the morning, after you've used the bathroom, before you've eaten or drunk, and without any clothing on, to take out as much variability as we can. And then what you're going to do is you're not going to think too hard about that number that you see. You're just going to write it down, and at the end of the week you are going to average out your week's weights, and then you're going to compare them to the previous week's average. And by doing that, we cut out a lot of the daily fluctuations, and you have a pretty good idea of what an actual weight change, as in body fat lost or gained change, is. Now for some women, their monthly cycle can also push that number around on the scale quite a bit. Now I have another post on this, so if you want to see that, message me and I will send that through to you. Now next week I am starting my own weight cut, so this is your official invitation to join me for a free 5-day weight loss Kickstarter. If you want to know more, then message me or comment below Kickstarter and I will send you through everything you need to get started.